Hello ladies, thank you for joining me for another Tuesday tutorial for our Yahoo group of Scrap and Free. Today's tutorial is going to be on easy pattern transfer. Easy pattern transfer is a technique that I've been using for about a month now. I accidentally stumbled upon it when I was working on something. There's only a couple things that you need to do this technique. You need a pattern, and I'm going to be doing this one today. I have already completed this particular pattern, and here's my finished project. You can find a scanned photo that's very detailed because it came off of my scanner in the #1 photo album. If you want a copy of this pattern to do your own paper piecing from it, you can also find the pattern in the #1 photo album in the group's photo section. Okay, so you'll need your pattern. You'll need 2 pencils, and you'll see me looking over that way because I've got my thing set up with my webcam, which is why this video is a little bit better than the other tutorials. This is how they'll be from now on. First one was just kind of trial and error. Okay, and you'll need a stiff paintbrush. If your pencils do not have erasers or they're worn down, you'll need a pink gummy eraser or a white gummy eraser. For this particular pattern, you will also need a red marker and a brown marker. You'll also need an orange marker. I just have a Crayola one. The other 2 markers are permanent art markers. You'll need a Sharpie pen, and you'll need a silver gel pen. And then you'll also need, well, you don't have to have this actual pen. This is a Brushables Zig marker. To do this, you'll also need a pair of scissors and a craft knife, as well as a pencil sharpener and a pair of tweezers. You will need some sort of heart stamp, or you can draw it, but I have this heart stamp here. And then the ink that I'm choosing to use is one of the colors from my 6 stackable color box fluid chalk inks. And the most important thing besides the pattern that you'll need is paper, which is going to be the paper that you've chosen to use for this pattern. So let me go ahead and adjust my camera, and then I'll be right back to show you how to do this technique. Okay, now that I have my camera adjusted, let me get all this stuff, oh, sorry for the camera shake. Let me get all this stuff moved out of the way. I forgot to tell you, I think I forgot to tell you, for this particular pattern, you'll also need a small piece of string. You can use paper, but to give it a little more depth, I'm going to use this sparkly string. Like I said, I've already completed this pattern, but I'm going to do it again. Somebody wanted a copy of this paper piecing, and they wanted me to complete it for them, so I'm doing that. This is just a little piece of fiber that sparkles. I'm going to be using that for the duck's leash. Oh, there goes that camera shake again. Don't have much room to work with over here. Okay. So what you're going to do, I've already started a little bit to give you a good view of what you're going to do. You're going to turn your pattern over. You're going to take pencil #1. The reason you want 2 pencils is because you want 1 pencil specifically for scribbling and the other pencil just for outlining. So as I said, I've already started, but you want to scribble the back of your pattern, and you want to give it a good thick layering of lead, and try and fill in as much of it as you can. Now I can kind of see the pattern. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. I can kind of, because of my lighting in here, see the pattern through the paper, so I know exactly where to scribble at. You can do it one of 2 ways. You can scribble the whole paper, or you can scribble just over the lines that you'll be tracing, because when you turn this over and you trace it, you're going to make a carbon copy without having actual carbon copy paper. It's just going to transfer the lead over to the other paper that you're going to be using under this. So I've got a good thing of ink, of lead going there. Not ink. Ink's in pens, silly. Okay. So, off camera view, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I am holding this up to the light to make sure that I have completely covered the whole pattern of what I'll be tracing over. Okay? Okay, so for this particular tutorial, I'm going to do the duck first. So I have my yellow cardstock. Not sure if that color's showing up very vibrant on the video, but I have my yellow cardstock, and I'm going to put that under the duck and just feel around to make sure that I have him all the way on the paper. You can take your fingernail and push it up against, even if you have really short fingernails like I do, you can push it up against the paper to know that your duck is fully on there. You're going to take pencil number 2 and you're going to outline the duck. You're going to just not outline it, you're going to trace over the duck. Now the pattern that I'm using is just completed, is just the one from my completed project that I scanned, and it's copied into black and white. I did a little bit of enhancement with it in my photo program. So as you can see, I'm just tracing the duck here. And right here where his beak is, you don't want to trace this line. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but you don't want to trace that line. You want to actually give him a little rounded point to his head so that you have something to attach the beak to later. And let me do his little leg fur right here, and then okay, and I think I'm finished. Okay, yeah, I'm finished with the duck. Okay, so here's the pattern front, here's the pattern back, and here's the duck. Now you can see that was this yellow sheet with the duck was underneath my pattern, and it carbon copied onto the cardstock. What you're going to need the eraser for is when you're done cutting this duck out, this is going to be the front side of the duck, the part that is carboned onto here. It's going to be the front side of the duck. When you cut him out, you might still have some ink around the edges. Not everybody can cut perfectly, so that's where the eraser comes into play. All you got to do is simply erase after you cut. And then I like to use the paintbrush because I'm using textured cardstock and there's all the little grooves in there. You can use the paintbrush and just get all the eraser particles off there. So that is the tutorial for easy pattern transfer. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or post to the message board. Again, you can find a copy of this pattern in photo album number 1 in the group's photo section. You can also find a copy of my completed pattern of my completed paper piecing in photo album number 1. You can use any colors of paper or anything like that. I've actually gone in and used some extra chalk to give the water and the duck some more depth and giving her some cheeks and things like that. If you need help doing any part of this paper piecing or this pattern, don't hesitate to ask. So that is the tutorial for easy pattern transfer. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.